Scott Engel, co-general manager of the New York Bodega Cats, is here. And New York, trying to get to 2-0, puts up the second most points in the Hall of Fantasy League this week, but loses in a wild shootout to the Vegas Pocket Kings, 192.06, 182.72. Can you only take away positives from this, or is it tough losing, Scott?
Well, look, like you said, it was the highest scoring game of the week. One team scored the most points with 192 this week. We happen to play against them. So basically, Jeff Mans, hat goes off to them. They had to play a perfect game to beat us, and they did play a perfect game. When you get Daniel Jones scoring that many points, and the Buffalo defense shutting out Miami, that's what it's going to take to win. We did everything possible that we have to do to win. Raph and I discussed this, and Raph said, we set the best possible lineup for the max points every week. And after 2 weeks, we feel really good about the balance of our team. We just got outscored. We would have beat every other team in the league this week, but, congratulations to Jeff Mans in Las Vegas. Jeff's been doing this over a long time. He's won over $1 million, and that's a very good team over there.
Let me play a little devil's advocate here, right? Yes, you could argue Jeff Mans gets 29.46 points out of Daniel Jones. He gets 22 points out of the Buffalo Bills defense. A little bit fluky to beat you guys by 10. But one thing that our friends at Sleeper send us at the end of every week, we got the wide receiver bench warmer of the week was Henry Ruggs, who was on your bench. The tight end bench warmer of the week was Robert Tonyan, who was on your bench. So as much as you talk about, this being, you send out the team you think will have the most points, statistically, you had two of the best players in the league on the bench, as great as you were. So how do you feel about not putting those guys in the lineup now, with hindsight being 2020?
Look, we feel good about Henry. We've spoken about him. He's worked very hard. We feel good about him, but we feel good about who we had in the lineup. Henry needed to prove himself and to earn it. He didn't do it in week one. We feel very good about Logan Thomas. Logan played a good game. We feel we have two very good tight ends. And look, the smartest people in fantasy football have said, it's process over results. We can't sit back. We got to move forward. We're looking to Boston.
In that Boston matchup that's coming up, Darrell Henderson, we'll see what his status is with the Los Angeles Rams, with that injury potential there. I just mentioned some of those guys that you have on the bench. How are you going to try to allocate the lineup as we look ahead to Boston?
The one thing we're looking at is we'll know more later this week about Darrell. When the doctors give us the clearance, that's when we'll know about Darrell. Like you said, we do have Henry. We feel very good about him. Watkins, he's got a really good matchup against the Lions this week. So we feel good about our options. We're not feeling down after one game in which a team had to play a perfect day in order to beat us. We had the second most points in the league. We just played somebody who had more than us. We're feeling really good this week. That's a good team over there in Boston, but we're not concerned about that.
Jonathan Taylor was one of your early picks, had a little bit of a down fantasy week. I know he got the carries in the first half. And if you watch the game, he got the carries at the goal line in the first quarter. He couldn't punch it in. That team might not have Carson Wentz going forward. They play Tennessee next. I mean, he was a high pick. Could we see him potentially drop out of your lineup?
No, I think that would be an overreaction. He had a very good week one. We feel really good about Jonathan. He's worked very hard this season to get himself into form to be a lead back. We're not reactionary. We don't react to what happens in 1 week. We're looking at the bigger picture. And, Jonathan Taylor was certainly worth a third-round pick. We feel like we got value for where we drafted him. So we have a lot of confidence in Jonathan. He's our starting running back, and that's it when it comes to him.
I love, Scott, it sounds like you're getting all the information from the team doctors, the players. Like, you want to make sure that Jonathan Taylor knows out there that he has confidence, that you have confidence in him. Let's touch on two positive players. You talked about the value with Jonathan Taylor. How about Kyler Murray and Cooper Kupp, who have been two of the best players in all of fantasy these first 2 weeks, now anchoring your squad? What did people miss in terms of not taking these guys in the spots that you did?
We didn't worry about who was not being taken ahead of us or who was taken behind us in the draft. When it came up at number 4, we were very, very happy to have Kyler on the board. I'll go out on a limb and say that he could be the best quarterback in fantasy football this season. The guys are whirling dervish out there when they try to pressure him, and he makes plays. They go with 4 wide receiver sets in Arizona. He can run, he can throw, and we saw what he did last year. So we're very happy with him. There was a lot of criticism of our wide receiver core, including from you, Jeff, but you guys are going to write what you're going to write, say what you're going to say. We don't worry about that. We felt our wide receiver crew was excellent. And, Cooper Kupp with Matthew Stafford. Stafford's going to have his best year yet. He's got a great rapport with Cooper Kupp. We feel really good about Cooper. I've been scouting Cooper since he's been in college, was very excited when he came to the pros, and I'm not surprised by anything that happens. We have a very deep wide receiver crew. Some people on the outside may not think it's great, but when Raph and I are together, in that room, we feel very, very good about our wide receiver core and what we've built here in New York. I think people are very excited about what's going on in New York. I know with the other teams, and unfortunately, Zach Wilson is not off to a good start. The Giants had a heartbreaking loss, but the Bodega Cats give people a lot of hope for professional fantasy football in New York this year.
Well, outside of not Zach Wilson, but you brought Sam Darnold back to New York by selecting him. Is this someone that all of a sudden you're thinking a little bit about? I know you have Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert, but all of a sudden, Sam Darnold, could he break into this lineup?
Look, when you play in the Superflex League, you have to have good depth at quarterback. And we felt Sam in the later rounds. We were very surprised to find him there. He's got a great playmaking crew around him that he didn't have with his first team in New York. We do have a good playmaking crew around him. We feel good about Sam. He's shown us a lot so far this year. He's young and got off to, unfortunately, a bad start in his pro career. But right now, Kyler and Justin are our starters. But if we have to turn it Sam at some point, whether it be a bye week or hopefully not an injury, we feel like we can plug him in there, confidence. But right now, Kyler and Justin are our starters.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got Houston, short week. Just saying, something for you to think about, Scott. And of course, on top of that,
that's matchup over analysis. What I often advise about in fantasy football, you don't play players based simply on a matchup. Justin Herbert and Kyler Murray have established themselves as top quarterbacks. That's not saying anything negative about Sam. We feel good about him, but we know who our starters are.
And of course, Kyler Murray gets the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. So with all due respect to the Jaguars, you also have Christian Kirk in that lineup. How can that be a big spot that Cardinals, I know you said don't play the matchup, but with Kyler and Christian Kirk going to Jacksonville, how could that help you guys out?
Well, I say don't play the matchup, for those people watching fantasy football wise, the players have to be valued similarly in order for you to make that lineup change. Christian Kirk is definitely one of our top wide receivers. We like the matchup for him this week. We'll discuss that internally, and then we'll make a decision.
You talk about the struggles. The New York professional football teams 0-4 so far. The New York Bodega Cats 1-1 could easily be 2-0. What has the response been like from the fans after these first 2 weeks?
I think the fans have been very patient. They know this is a very good team. We know expectations are high in New York. Word is spreading about the team, and we're prepared to deal with it. There's a lot of pressure from the media. I'm going to get questions from guys like you, and I think we're prepared to handle it. Our fans are important to us. We're going out there. We're trying to win for our people. Okay. And, we've got some very important people that have been following us and Roto Bowler for a long time. These people are important to us, and we're doing it for us as much as just as much for us as we do it for them. Because we wouldn't be here without them.
And I see just following some of the Discord right now for the New York Bodega Cats. Lord of Zubat says, well, that was a rough matchup to lose, but hey, could be worse. You could be a Vikings fan like me. So, Scott, at least you're bringing joy to people like that.
Well, look, that's why we're here. If your team in New York or, or if the Giants or Jets are not performing well, the Bodega Cats are going to give you hope. The Vikings, look, they got a pretty good squad this year. We don't have any Vikings on our roster, but we have a lot of respect for those guys. KJ Osborne is a top waiver pickup this week. Somebody will be discussing internally, etc. We like our receiving crew, but we're always looking to improve.
Scott, appreciate the time. Good luck. I know you're on to Boston this week.